Night Driver, Night Driver was one of my favourite games for the Atari 2600, we never got a chance to play the arcade version. Would love to. But for some reason Atari won't put out the arcade version of the game on Atari Flashback Classics or on the consoles. I don't know why. I hope to do at some stage because I'd love to play the arcade version. I missed out. Uh, yeah. Now, in my opinion, Night Driver it pioneered the whole first-person driving game. In my opinion, okay, back then they didn't get it quite right, but uh, um, had the first-person driving games had to start somewhere, and Night Driver was really the first one to attempt it. Now, we still have fun playing Night Driver. It's you have to get as far as you can without crashing within 90 seconds, and we always love the game, and it's great. It's great using the paddle controllers with this game. Okay, it's not a fucking masterpiece by any means, but I like this game. I do. For what it started, for what it tried to do, because back then the technology wasn't what it is now. But in my opinion, if Night Driver was never invented, then the whole first-person driving experience wouldn't exist, in my opinion, because someone had to start it, and Night Driver was the first one to attempt it. But it's still a good game, in my opinion. You had to avoid cars and stuff like that, and you can't hit the pylons or anything like that. Um, for me, Night Driver was a fun game and a challenging game. Um, we can play this game sometimes without crashing, and some people say, "How the fuck are you doing that?" Because most people we see playing this game, they crash every fucking second, and they get frustrated and they get pissed off. So yeah, but I love this game, and I hope Atari put out the arcade version. I'd love to play that. I mean, I'll keep sending them messages. Put out the arcade version of Night Driver. Because they do it for everything else except Night Driver. I don't know why, but I hope they do. So yeah, great stuff. Now I heard that there's a new version of Night Driver coming out for Android and stuff like that. For the smartphones, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Night Driver is fucking awesome. And I love Atari. I love Atari. We've stuck with Atari throughout the years. I didn't abandon ship. I didn't fucking walk away. I stuck with Atari because I like playing their games. It's just as simple as that. And like Atari are awesome. And that's why they're still around today. And that's why they're coming out with the Atari VCS. In July 2019. And I can't wait to get it. I'm getting the collector's edition with the joystick and the controller. And Night Driver is one of the first games that I'm going to play in it. Now I love Atari. Like I said, I didn't walk away. I didn't say fuck you, Atari. I stuck with them. Now when I was a kid, I thought Atari could do no wrong. I thought they were invincible. I thought nothing could ever happen to Atari. I couldn't imagine they go bankrupt more than once. They changed personnel more than once. They fucked up big time. I hate to say it, but they did. But I thought, like, Jesus sake, how is this happening? The almighty Atari have gone bankrupt more than once, as I said. Because Atari fucked up more than once, and that's just a simple fact of the matter. Now I wish these things never happened, but they did. But despite that, we still played. We still support Atari. I bought their stuff. I bought their T-shirts, their games, everything. Now a few of my friends said, "Fuck it, not playing Atari anymore." But we stuck with them, and still to this day. And that has Atari on it. I just fucking buy that shit up because I love Atari. Just like the Atari VCS. Now, like I said, Atari. I wish Atari never fucked up, but they did, and that's why they were away. That's why they've been dormant. I'd like to say for the last 20 years or so, because the Atari Jaguar was such a failure that it hurt them financially big time, and you know, they just couldn't make more games or consoles. But they start making driver and stuff like that, and stuff for PlayStation and all. But yeah, it's a shame, you know. But like I said, we've stuck with Atari, and I still will. You know, you know. Well, fair people online say that the Atari 2600 saved the gaming industry. Saved it. Well, we'll say this: the Atari 2600 is my favorite console of all time, and if the awesome console with great games, I love the Atari 2600. And if it wasn't for the Atari 2600, the home console industry would be a lot different today, because Atari made it popular, they made it fun, made it great. They were pioneers and innovators. That's why I love Atari and still love Atari. Now, like I said, personnel have changed over the years, and people say to me, this is not the same Atari. The people that are working on the Atari VCS, they say it in a fucking negative light. Like Atari, this isn't the same Atari. It's a different group of people, and they say that they're just using the Atari name. Well, it's still Atari. Still logo, same logo. They're making the Atari VCS with Atari games on it. So yeah, and in my opinion, the people that are working on the Atari VCS have done an amazing job, and I'm really pleased. We couldn't be happier. So yeah, but people try to say that in a fucking negative light. They try their best to come up with every fact or opinion of their own that the Atari VCS is going to be a disaster, it's going to be a failure. I disagree. I think it's going to be awesome. I've never had my doubts about the Atari VCS. Now, in the Sunday Express, right, that's a newspaper in England. They say that in July 2019, the Atari VCS will be coming out, and the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo are going to have a new rival, and I'm really looking forward to it, because competition means more games, more games for us to play and stuff like that. So it's awesome, Now, yeah, now, like I said, the Atari 2600 was a pioneer. Awesome, but the technology inside it wasn't really advanced, but it didn't need to be for the games that I was playing. For me, it was fucking fantastic. Now, like I said, the Atari 5200, that was the first fuck up Atari made. They should have never made that console. They should have fucking scrapped the whole idea, but they didn't, and they made a faulty controller, made of cheap materials, and they sold it anyway. Well, it didn't last very long, and it was fucked in the bin. And so then Pac-Man comes out, which was a disaster also for the 2600, and E.T. So 3 strikes and they're out Atari, and they were, unfortunately. I wish these things never happened, but they did. Now Pac-Man was still playable, but it wasn't anywhere near the arcade version. Now Space Invaders on the 2600 was deadly. Pac-Man just wasn't, and it pissed off a lot of people, especially hardcore Pac-Man fans. But it was a disaster. Same thing with E.T., just a confusing mess of a game that made no sense, and people were pissed off, and that's it. They stopped buying Atari games, and they stopped buying their consoles. And it wasn't just Atari, but all companies like the ColecoVision, the Intellivision, people just stopped buying them. They wouldn't buy them anymore. They saw it as a waste of money, and that's it. That's how the video game crash happened in 1983. Now I wish it never happened, but it did happen. But I still stuck with Atari regardless, because I knew they'd come back some way, shape or form. But that didn't happen, right? The NES came out in 1985, right? Now, like it or not, fucking Nintendo did bring the gaming industry back to life. They just did. If the NES hadn't come out, people wouldn't have any interest in video games anymore. I understand people lost interest in video games because of what happened with Pac-Man, E.T., the Atari 5200, and other things, with the ColecoVision and everything. But Nintendo made video games popular again. They made people want to buy video games, and they brought out the D-pad, the D-pad, the control pads, So fucking Nintendo did innovate just like Atari did, with the controller and with awesome new graphics, new sounds, and everything. Far more powerful than the Atari 2600 could ever be. And awesome games, had third parties to part out the ass. And it just brought the industry back to life and made it even better, in my opinion. The Atari 7800 came out around the same time. I was really excited, because, like I said, I knew Atari would come back. And I knew because they're such a big name, they're such a big company, that even if they went bankrupt, which they did, they'd come back, and they did with the Atari 7800. And it just couldn't compete with the NES, but I still got my Atari 7800 and was fucking awesome. I love the Atari 7800. It's backwards compatible with the 2600 games, which was awesome. It didn't have any of the problem. It didn't have any of the problems that the 5200 had. So it was an awesome console. It just didn't have the games like Mario or Metroid and stuff like that. But I was still happy with it regardless. So it's fucking over the moon with it, Sorry, yeah, and yeah. But again, like Atari just couldn't compete with the NES, and then Sega came out with the Master System. It's a shame, but I still love my Atari 7800. It's very reliable, and it's great. So then, Nintendo came out with the Game Boy, and they revolutionised handheld gaming thing. And then Atari brought out the Atari Lynx. The Atari Lynx was more powerful than the Game Boy, but was fucking huge, and it eats up the fucking batteries like no tomorrow. But I still love the Atari Lynx, it has got great games on it. I was over the moon. Again, I just couldn't compete. Just couldn't match the Game Boy or Sega's Game Gear. But I still stuck with them regardless. People ask me, should I get an Atari Lynx or an Atari 7800? I say definitely. It's just great games on it, Now, in my opinion, for the Atari Lynx, Blue Lightning is a great airplane game. Pac-Land is fucking deadly, and Battle Wheels is a great game, in my opinion. And fucking Robotron 2084, for the Atari Lynx is deadly. Would recommend that as well. So there's tons of exclusive games for the Atari Lynx, which are awesome as well. Now the 7800, Ball Blazer is a great 7800 game. Would recommend that. Pole Position 2, which was the sequel to the first one, arcade perfect. Would recommend it. Ace of Aces, it's a great airplane game for the 7800. Fatal Run, the 7800 is version is fucking deadly. Desert Falcon for the 7800, awesome. And like Atari took Nintendo's example and made their own gamepad, very similar, except it's black, not grey, So again, it was still awesome, So at that time, Atari fans will notice that we're jumping ship altogether, from Atari, but I never did. Even though, I love the NES, don't get me wrong. We've got an NES, I've got over 50 games on the player. We'll play all systems, But I noticed that my friends, like I said, they said, fuck, not playing Atari stuff anymore, what's the point? Because the Super Nintendo was coming out, and everyone knew the Sega Mega Drive was out, so the Atari Jaguar comes out, and that was the last nail in the coffin for Atari, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case. I was hoping the Atari Jaguar would be number one, the world's first 64-bit system it just wasn't. The games weren't impressive enough, and there was just so much more better games, in my opinion, on the Sega Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo. You know, but the Atari Jaguar still has some good games, in my opinion. Like Doom was awesome on the Jaguar. Orange Soldier is a great Atari Jaguar game. Uh, Alien vs Predator is pretty cool. Uh, Cannon Fodder is a good game for the Jaguar. So awesome stuff. Yeah, so I just want to make a quick video about Atari in general. Like Atari will always exist. Just like any other company. But it just goes to show how great Atari are. Over 40 years and they're still going, despite going bankrupt more than once. You know what I mean? Uh, like, uh, so yeah, uh, they're my opinion. They're my opinions. And like I said, I'll always support Atari, no matter what it is. And thanks for watching. If you're watching, I'll see you down there. Take care, bye.